And I'm treating you like a responsible human being, like responsible for not shutting down traffic, like responsible for not telling lies about the police. The Democratic Party has decided to foment racial polarization for purposes of electoral victory. Enough of this crap already. Meanwhile, as though the economy were not already slowing, as though we didn't already have enough crises on our hands, the Biden administration is doing an unbelievable job of manufacturing crisis pretty much everywhere, at home and abroad. We'll start with at home and then we'll get to abroad, because it really is fairly incredible how they've somehow manufactured an economic crisis where there really ought not be one. They're manufacturing a COVID crisis where the COVID crisis is on the wane and essentially done in a bunch of states. And they continue to foment social panic with regard to race relations in the United States. So the Black Lives Matter movement continues to create issues in cities across the country. The latest example comes courtesy of Plano, Texas. So Plano is about as red an area as it is possible to find. Plano is like 65-35 Republican Democrat. It may be higher than that. Hey, Black Lives Matter took over an intersection anyway. And the cops decided instead of clearing the intersection, they were just going to allow Black Lives Matter to take over the intersection and stop traffic, which is nuts. Enough of this crap already. Okay, you can get a license to protest. You can get a license to shut down streets. But if you just decide to show up in the middle of the street and shut down traffic, then everybody has a right to be pissed at you. One driver got out of his car. The police decided that he was the problem, not the people who were holding up the traffic. This guy was ticked off. He's, and the cops show up. People are screaming at him. And people are flipping him off. What are the cops doing? Nothing. The cops are just standing there doing nothing. That's not the cops' fault. That's not the cops' fault. Right? The cops have been told, presumably by their political higher-ups, to not stop this sort of nonsense. It's an absurdity. Now, this sort of social division in the country is simply not a good thing. And the fact that the police have been told to stand down in the face of this sort of stuff is really, really bad. But again, this is all part and parcel of the giant equity push being put forward by the Biden administration. It's part of the continuing fragmentation of American life on the basis of race. Michelle Obama, who of all the people in the United States should be pretty grateful for how great the United States has been to her. I feel this way about anybody who's in a position of high power. I'm very, very grateful to the United States for all the opportunities that I've had. Michelle Obama, who went to Princeton University and grew up in a two-parent family and became a highfalutin lawyer and earned a big salary and married the president of the United States, she really, it seems, should be pretty grateful for the fact that this country's been good to her, but she has not been grateful for that for quite a while. I mean, you'll recall back in 2008, Michelle Obama suggested openly that the first time that she had been grateful for the country, or the first time that she'd been proud of the country, rather, is when her husband was nominated for the presidency. That's the first time in her life, which is pretty amazing considering, again, she went to Princeton University. Well, now Michelle Obama and President Obama are speaking out a lot about race. In an excerpt of an interview that's going to be released later today with Gayle King of CBS This Morning, Michelle Obama revealed her fears that the couple's daughters Malia and Sasha could fall victim to racist aggression as they go about their everyday lives. She said, "Every time they get in a car by themselves, I worry about what assumption is being made by somebody who doesn't know everything about them. Maybe they're playing their music a little loud. Maybe somebody sees the back of their head and makes an assumption. I, like so many parents of black kids, the innocent act of getting a license put fears in our hearts." Again, this is just rooted in non-data. The notion that young black women are being gunned down by the cops for the crime of being black is insane. That is not backed by data. But she's pushing it anyway, because the Democratic Party has decided to foment racial polarization for purposes of electoral victory. In the same interview, Michelle praised BLM. She said they're taking to the streets because they have to. Do they have to, though? Those $2 billion riots last year, was that a thing that had to happen? They're trying to have people understand that we're real folks. Oh, we get that you're real folks, and I'm treating you like a responsible human being, like any other responsible human being. Like responsible for not shutting down traffic, like responsible for not telling lies about the police. The bigotry of low expectations exists, and it is quite prevalent on the American left. And of course, the Obamas are earning strange new respect from the same left that had started to move away from them over all of this sort of stuff. Don Lemon doing the same thing over on CNN. He says that Tim Scott, the senator from South Carolina, who has said America's not a racist country, says, well, Tim Scott's not an Oreo, which is a racial slur meaning black on the outside, white on the inside. He's not an Oreo. He just, doesn't care about black folks. So basically, he's an Oreo, according to Don Lemon.
Obviously, you don't need the name calling. And anytime you call someone a name, anytime you do that, you don't want to become them. So you stoop to their level. You give your competitors ammunition and you give them a talking point, and you become them. I think that it is damaging to Democrats if they're trying to do that, and it gives Republicans talking points. Tim Scott should be held accountable for what he's doing and if he is voting against the interest of his own people.
So stop calling him names. Also, he's voting against the interests of his own people. Well done, Don Lemon. The fomenting of racial polarization in a country that, as of 2008, was at the height of a trajectory toward being non-racist is impressive. How we've reversed that over the course of the last decade and a half or so. Pretty amazing how we've reversed that so quickly. The battle for the culture is heating up. We here at the Daily Wire are making some big moves. So be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, because you're not going to want to miss a single moment.